I want you, we can bring it on the floor. Never danced like this before. We don't talk about it, dancing.
Hey guys, what's cracking? It is Kraken Nation, coach of the Boston Bisharps, and CSL Season X is underway. Unfortunately, I'm a little late to the party with this recording. I've been super under the weather. I actually came down with a pretty nasty flu that almost hospitalized me. But you know, we better than that. So we're here with our draft. I'm pretty happy with the result. Wasn't perfect, definitely not perfect, but I think it's a draft that I definitely am excited to use, and I think that's definitely overall the most important part. First up, we got Mega Slowbro. Mega Slowbro is somehow in B, but it's, I think, one of the top megas in the format. Just so versatile. Definitely runs great Calm Mind sets, great defensive sets, great offensive sets, great tank sets. It runs a great Crowbro set. I think it's just ridiculously versatile. All the sets require, I would say in general, relatively different things to beat them, and that's what makes it so exciting. It's also synergizes really well with a lot of the mons I ended up picking, so I think it's really fantastic. Next, for our A1 pick, we got Magirna. Magirna's absolute menace. This thing obviously runs a dominant shift gear set, but can also run really fearsome assault vest sets. It's more than capable of taking over games on its own. I'm really excited what it has to offer. It's also really cool how my top three have amazing synergy. Slowbro being weak to, I guess, ghost types kind of aren't totally covered, but it's weak to grass types, covered. Weak to electric types will be covered. Weak to dark types, covered. So Magirna is obviously really great. Assault Vest Magirna has notable synergy, but obviously the Shift Gear set is a set that everyone has to prepare really well for. So I think it's just a really great mon, and went with this. It's what I managed to get with the second A1 pick. So very, very happy with this guy. We have our franchise Garchomp coming back for another season. Garchomp is, I think, just an amazing mon. Managed to have this guy in the bottom A2 spot, and that's freaking absurd because this thing runs amazing defensive and offensive sets. Just the ability to just be Scarf, Band, Specs, Life Orb, utility, just defensive. It's just a mon that does it all. So I'm really excited for it to come back. And obviously Garchomp has an ice weakness covered by Magirna and Slowbro beautifully. Covers that electric weakness I was talking about on Slowbro. Slowbro covers Magirna's ground weakness. Garchomp's dragon weakness is covered by Magirna. Its fairy weakness is covered by Magirna. Just the synergy between my top three is just honestly undeniable. I'm really excited for matchups where all three will be able to shine. And kind of what's also cool is not only do they synergize typings wise, but they're able to just run sets that synergize. So if I run a Crowbro set, people are gonna have to run Hazing to defeat that. But then I pair that with a Specs Magirna and a Banded Garchomp. That just devastatingly punishes phasing, because all of a sudden people who have to run that to beat Crowbro are going to be bringing in just absurdly hard-hitting offense that just doesn't require any setup, just comes in and just puts immediate pressure on. Alternatively, if somebody over-preps for, let's say, a Shift Gear Magirna, they're probably having to run a lot of really fast Scarfers. I can bring the bulky Slowbro or a bulky Garchomp and just really punish Scarfers that can't really touch these more defensive sets. So just the overall synergy here is really cool, and I think where the draft, I would say, not really falls short, but doesn't quite perform to par as well as other drafts have had, is in supporting these top three, but these top three are definitely undeniably amazing, I think, and I'm really excited for that. So tried to make definitely, and I managed to pick up a lot of stuff that synergized really well, but I just think, especially on day 2 of the draft where we drafted C2 through bonus, I got snipes on some picks that made my draft a little harder to work with, but got some pretty great stuff. But let's keep going. We got Goodra. Goodra is a favorite Pokemon of mine using this format. Just Assault Vest Goodra or just a defensive Goodra sets just are absurdly good. The synergy with Slowbro is definitely notable, as obviously they cover each other's typings really well, with the electric type and the grass type that Slowbro are weak to, both beautifully covered by Goodra, and the ice types that Goodra fears are fantastically switched into by Slowbro. Obviously, that's notable, but they also obviously have the special defense versus the physical defense covered. Gudra just is able to run those mixed sets. So honestly, a Crow Gudra set is a threat on its own. I just think Gudra is just such a good mon that always is slept on, and I'm really excited to have it again. It's a mon that I think I've used really well season after season. Next up, we've got Azelf. Azelf was actually a mon that really carried, I thought, my worst draft ever, which was season 7. Or, well, no, it was season 8. The season 8 draft was probably my worst draft ever, and I thought Azelf was a lone bright spot on that draft. I think Azelf as a rocker, as a fast pivot, as a offensively threatening mixed mon is just amazing. Does a lot of different things offensively for teams. It can also set screens up so that Magirna can shift gear or Calm Mind or what have you. Which is a lot of different things. So I'm really excited to see what it's able to do. In the end, I think I needed a rocker really badly, and Azelf was also able to be a really good early game rocker. So that's exciting. Next up, we've got Rotom Mo in C1. And Rotom Mo now with Defog ends up being the first defogger in my draft. It's a pretty good defogger at that. Obviously has some good natural bulk and some pretty good options. With Pain Split's actually a pretty good recovery option on it. It's a good bulky Volt Switcher. Leaf Storm obviously hits really hard. Its Ice type weakness is a little over prominent, and Magirna and Slowbro obviously rely very heavily on its Ice type weakness because I have Garchomp, Gudra, and this. So a big thing I found in my draft is a lot of my mons are either weak to or resist Ice, and there's not a lot of middle ground, which is good or bad. Definitely means I have to play better, but it's definitely a super cool mon. Ability to run offensive Scarf or like some defensive sets makes this thing really hard to prep for. I think it's actually the first time I've ever had a Rotom form, so there's that, and I'm hoping it doesn't fall short because I think it's got a lot of potential. Next up, we've got Chandelure, which we picked up in C2, and that was a freaking sick acquisition. I think just the fact that Chandelure was available is awesome. I think this thing is absolutely a menace. Deceptively bulky and deceptively fast. 80 speed is really nothing to scoff at, especially when you hit as hard as 145 special attack does. This thing runs amazing Scarf sets. Spec sets break down almost everything. It also runs a sick Calm Mind set where that like I just said, that bulk that's a little better than people might think, 16, 90. With some investment, this thing's bulk is actually quite awesome. And a couple of cool abilities in Flash Fire and Infiltrator. So definitely some cool abilities, and I'm excited to see what this thing's able to do. It's just a great. The fact that it's in C is probably not even it should be a Bmon, and I got it in C2, and that's always going to be great value. So last we got Spiritomb in C3. Spiritomb is obviously another Ghost type, and we actually ended up having kind of a Ghost Week draft. So I had to patch that up later, which isn't great. Not exactly what you want, but Spiritomb is also not actually Ghost Week. It's actually able to quite effectively beat most Ghost types, which is really cool. It's got a really cool utility move pool. Just hits a lot harder than you might think it does. Pretty bulky. Will-O-Wisp and Pain Split. When you have low HP like this thing does, Pain Split's actually quite good recovery. Able to just Will-O-Wisp stuff. It actually gets Trick Room, which is pretty neat. I can definitely utilize that with other Pokemon on my team, such as Slowbro or Magirna. Gets a Destiny Bond, is definitely neat. And a slow Destiny Bond and a fast Destiny Bond both operate very differently. A slow Destiny Bond is super cool, I think, in the sense, last night Gengar, which is usually a fast Destiny Bond. The slow Destiny Bond basically puts your opponent in a position where you can basically click a free attack a lot of the time if they're really worried about preserving their Mon. And if they're not worried about preserving their Mon, then why did you even bother Destiny Bonding? You know what I mean? So a slow Destiny Bond definitely puts my opponents in some tricky situations, and I think I'm really excited to use this thing when it does manage to come. We've got Swellow here. Swellow was a Mon that I drafted instead of Aerodactyl when Aerodactyl got sniped. Obviously doesn't give me the rocks. Maybe doesn't give me quite as much. It's kind of interesting how they kind of differ, but I'll just actually talk about Swellow instead. Swellow obviously is actually still a defogger. Not a great one, but it's still a defogger. What's nice about Swellow is it has the ability to run really good physical and special sets. Obviously the physical Facade Brave Bird Gut set is really good, and then the Specs Boom Burst set is really good. I actually have been very pleasantly surprised with a lot of calcs I've ran. This thing is a amazing late game cleaner, and I'm really happy to have actually found a gem like this in D1, because I think it's actually a really good Mon that I actually hadn't given enough credit to in the past. We got Avalug coming back for another season. Avalug is just a mon that I absolutely adore. I just think it's what it does in what it does as a physical wall is absolutely fearsome. I have really amazing synergy on my draft with this thing. It was really interesting because my two best physical walls are Avalug and Slowbro. And if people bring special fire or special fighting moves to beat Avalug, which are Fire Blast and Focus Blast, Slowbro is able to really punish that. So I'm actually really excited. And Avalug obviously actually able to take on a lot of grass types that Slowbro might not be able to. But Avalug is just so cool. It's also a rapid spinner, obviously. Not a great one, but a good rapid spinner. Great, amazing physical wall. So deceptively powerful. 117 attack or something. This thing hits really hard, and people don't realize that. It also synergizes well with other mons on my team, such as I think the one that came to mind for me is Chandelure. Chandelure is actually immune to both of this thing's attacks. Both of this thing's main weaknesses, main common weaknesses. Usually when people are hitting Avalug, it's either with a Focus Blast or a Fire Blast. And so the fact that Chandelure switches into both of those is super cool. And I think these two have more synergy than one might think. Even though they operate very differently in terms of one's a defensive, one's offensive. The fact that my defensive mon my offensive mon can switch in for totally free on some of these Pokemon that might be trying to beat Avalug means Chandelure is able to instantly create that offensive pressure that it wasn't creating a turn before. So I'm very excited about this thing for sure. We got Ursaring coming back. Ursaring is a mon that a lot of people scoffed at me for drafting, and this thing just came alive in playoffs last season. The fact that it just is so actually surprisingly hard for teams to prep for, because the Quick Feet set hits around, I think it's like around like 106, 107 speed, and so that's pretty fast. You SD up or you protect. It has enough bulk to usually get that up, and then just Facade obviously just rails through people. And then in playoffs, what it really came live was when I started playing against like slower, bulkier teams like Mega Venusaur and such. The Guts Facade set actually just dismantles souls. You try to bring stall against this thing, and this thing just breaks it. And the fact that it's an E, like, I think in my mind, like the things that Ursaring can do easily could put it in like C tier, but it's a D tier, it's an E tier mon, and I think it's a phenomenal pickup. Actually to trade for it, picked it up in free agency because it was originally drafted. But I'm so glad that it's returning on my draft because I think this is a mon that just the sky is the limit in the right hands, I think, with this Pokemon. Finally, we've got Lucario. Lucario is probably the mon that's most likely to drop and be replaced with something else. Already looking at a couple mons. But Lucario is definitely a cool mon. I just have never really used it before. So I want to make sure I know how to use it before I'm drafting a mon that like is super limited. But it obviously has some really cool options where it can set up physically or specially with Nasty Plot or Swords Dance, and then has a lot of amazing priority options like Extreme Speed, like Vacuum Wave, and Bullet Punch. So 3 really good priority options. Also just hits really hard. I really needed that 90 speed tier, so it's really good to have that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just really excited to see what Lucario is able to do. I think it's just a really good mon. So I don't know. I just think I think if I am able to, I think the best way to describe how I feel at Lucario is if it ends up being a mon that I figure out how to use early, it's going to be really awesome. And if I end up being a mon that I just never figure out how to use, it's going to be a really bad spot wasted in my drafts when I could have picked up a lot of other things that might have synergized better with my team. So I am excited about Lucario, and I really hope I can figure out how to use it. And I need to give it, I know in my mind, I need to give it the chance to really shine because I know that it can be good in the right hands, and I need to make sure my hands are those hands. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a comment, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff. Week 1 has actually already happened. Unfortunately, didn't go well, but I probably will either be posting a post-com or something of that game, as well as, I'll probably be posting a post-com of that game, and we'll see where, it'll be a chance for me to, like, learn from any mistakes I may have made in that match, and we'll, hopefully be able to catch up a little bit. Anyways, I will see you guys later. Again, leave a comment, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff, but, yeah, I'll see you guys later. Kraken Nation, out.